It's 8 p.m. You're cooking dinner. Suddenly, the intercom buzzes. You check the video screen in your apartment. Clipboard, suit, polite bow. It's the NHK collector. They're not here to ask if you watch TV. They're here to tell you that you watch TV and that you have to pay. Even if you never turn on the channel, even if you don't speak Japanese. In Japan, owning a screen, a TV, or even just a smartphone legally means you must sign a contract with the national broadcaster. In 2025, the dreaded NHK collector is still pressing those buzzers, often dismissed simply as the NHK guy, though plenty of women do the job just as aggressively. Starting this year, NHK is going even further, rolling out a brand new internet-only fee for people who stream online. In this week's Japan Today Spotlight, we're asking, why does Japan still force people to pay for a broadcaster they may never, or rarely, watch? Is this public service or just legalized harassment? From October 2025, NHK is not backing off. In fact, they've doubled down. No TV? Doesn't matter. If you stream NHK online, you'll still have to pay an internet-only fee. The same 1,100 yen a month, about $7 as regular TV. Now think about how every other service works. Netflix? You choose to subscribe. Spotify? You can go free or you can go premium. Here on YouTube, you decide if you want to pay for premium or suffer through the ads. NHK? You don't sign up. You don't opt in. If you stream their content, you're automatically on the hook. Some people might ask, what if it just pops up, right? Say you've got an Apple TV and the NHK app is just sitting there. Or you click a stream once on your computer via a Google search. Are collectors going to come for both the TV and the internet fees? The answer is no, so don't worry. But not because the system makes sense. By law, it's just one fee per household. If you already pay for TV, you don't pay again for online. The internet-only fee is just for households that don't have a TV contract, but they do stream NHK Plus. Still, the logic is the same. If you own a screen or stream, you are on the hook. They call this modernization, but it's really just dragging a 1950s fee system onto smartphones and Wi-Fi. Why the NHK collector exists. NHK started way back in 1925 with radio, paid for by listener fees. Back then, people signed up because they actually wanted to tune in. No door-to-door collectors, just subscriptions and local offices. The NHK guy didn't really show up until after World War II, when television spread across Japan. In 1950, the broadcast law laid it down. If you own a device that can pick up NHK's TV signal, you were legally required to sign a contract and pay. Radios were never included. NHK Radio has always been free. So why not just fold it into taxes like Canada's CBC or the BBC in the UK? The idea was to keep NHK independent from government budgets. So instead of the government handling the money, NHK was told to collect it themselves, one household at a time. Independence from government budgets hasn't meant independence from politics either. NHK's board is still appointed by the very politicians it is supposed to cover. In 2017, Japan's Supreme Court backed the system, ruling it constitutional. Owning a TV or a receiver means you're legally locked in. Here's a catch. NHK can't just send you a bill out of the blue. By law, they can only charge for payment after you sign a contract. No contract, no invoice. That's why collectors still knock on doors or buzz intercoms in 2025. Their main job isn't taking money. It's getting you to sign on that dotted line. And once you do, you're stuck. Lawsuits are rare if you don't sign. Once you do sign, though, the trap closes. Stop paying after that, and NHK can sue. And courts almost always side with them. Sometimes households get hit with years of back fees all at once. You can cancel if you get rid of your TV, but only with proof, receipts, disposal paperwork, and official forms. Leave Japan without deregistering, and NHK keeps sending bills to your old address. They won't follow you abroad, but if you come back, the contract can still follow you. If you move out, the new tenant isn't responsible for your debt, but they will still get a visit. Once an address is on NHK's radar, collectors know to circle back. So the next person inherits the hassle, if not the bill. You've effectively paid it forward. Some people push back with stickers on their doors that say things like no NHK staff or no collection fee. These don't have any legal power, but they do send a message. Collectors may still knock, but they often move on quickly to avoid confrontation. The irony? NHK spends huge sums of money just to keep the system going. Collectors are paid on commission, sometimes earning 20,000 to 30,000 yen per contract. That's about $130 to $200, with monthly incomes in the hundreds of thousands of yen, $1,300 to $2,600 or more. And they're not even NHK staff. Most are contractors, often doing it as a second job, knocking on doors in the evenings and on the weekends. The door-to-door operation costs NHK tens of billions of yen every year, hundreds of millions of US dollars, money that could be spent on programming, but instead props up an outdated system. For many, this isn't public service at all. It's a never-ending cat and mouse game that households never asked to play. Harassment funded by the very people forced to endure it. So why is NHK clinging so hard to this broken system? Follow the money. For decades, the fee model kept NHK rich. Most households eventually signed, and the money poured in. By 2017, NHK had piled up more than 1 trillion yen in reserves. That's about $7 billion. Critics said it was hoarding cash while still hounding people door to door. That cushion is now gone. Under political pressure, NHK cut fees in 2020 and again in 2023. The surpluses flipped into deficits. A 57 billion yen shortfall in 2024, about $380 million. Another 40 billion yen projected in 2025, about $270 million. NHK insists this reversal is just temporary. They say reforms will stabilize things by 2027. But if we look a little closer, this isn't a fix. Expanding internet fees while burning through billions to pay collectors, doesn't right the ship. It's still sinking. The catch-22? The more NHK raises money to stay afloat, the more people push back. The more people push back, the less relevant NHK becomes. And the less relevant NHK becomes, the deeper the hole gets. What used to be a public broadcaster with billion-yen reserves is now a legacy system just eating itself alive. Politicians know the NHK Fee system is broken, but their proposed fixes aren't bold new thinking, they're just slight tweaks. Some say make it one flat fee across TV and streaming so households only pay once, no matter how much they watch. Others talk about cutting fees further or trimming NHK's operating costs. A few push for a tax-based model like Canada's CBC or Germany's ARD and ZDF, which would get rid of collectors altogether. This would tie NHK's funding directly to government budgets, though. Some call for governance reform, like adding outside oversight or giving citizens more say. Each idea hits a wall. Lawmakers worry that a tax-based system would give the government too much control. NHK itself resists anything that could shrink its income. And so, round and round it goes. Meanwhile, the people paying for NHK have no real power over it. They don't get to vote on who runs it. They don't get a say in what it broadcasts. They don't even get to decide whether they want it in the first place. Public broadcasting without public control isn't public at all. The anger has even spilled into politics. The NHK party, built solely on opposition to the fee, grabbed headlines and even won diet seats before it quickly collapsed. NHK's fee system was built for the 1950s, when TVs were rare and public broadcasting was one of the few national voices. Supporters still call it essential. Critics, however, see a broadcaster propped up by coercion, shielded from accountability, and disconnected from the people it claims to serve. Financially, the cracks are showing. NHK is billions of yen in the red every year. Keeping collectors on the street costs tens of billions more. NHK calls itself independent and a public service. So here's the blunt question. How much longer will Japan tolerate a system that hounds households into paying for something they have no choice in receiving? Thanks for watching Japan Today Spotlight, and from the Japan Today newsroom here in Tokyo, I'm Jeff Richards. See me next time.